Hey crafty fam, it's Alex Vanover. Welcome back to my craft room. In this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you some super cute files from the Creative Fabrica All Access subscription to make some DIY faux leather earrings. There are so many styles of DIY faux leather earrings that you can make using your Cricut machine, whether that's a Cricut Maker 3 or really any Cricut machine on the market. And I'm super excited in this tutorial to show you how to make stud style earrings, which is something that we've never done on this channel before. So be sure to stick around until the end of the video to see just how cute they turned out. I also want to thank Creative Fabrica for sponsoring this video, as well as the Cricut Maker 3 giveaway. And the congratulations is in order because we have our Cricut Maker 3 giveaway winner, who was Denise Barron. So congratulations, Denise. Make sure you watch until the end of the video to get all the details on getting your machine shipped out to you. Okay, let's get into this tutorial. So to get started with this project, you guys probably know that Memorial Day is just around the corner. So I've decided that I want to make some really cute earrings for Memorial Day that I can wear all summer long. And today I'm going to be using the Creative Fabrica website to find all my files and my fonts because I have the all access subscription and I've actually had it for the past couple of years. And you guys, I absolutely love it. And the reason I love it is because I just pay one monthly fee and I can download as many SVG files, graphics, which are great for sublimation projects, and fonts as I want, and it all just comes through that one monthly fee. And when you have the all access subscription, you can use any category of these and you can download whatever you want. You can actually even look at Creative Fabrica classes, and you guys may or may not know that I have some Creative Fabrica classes out there for you. So if you decide that you want to take those classes, those are included in the all access subscription, and actually lots of other creators are a part of the classes program. So that's another really cool perk of having the all access subscription. But anyway, for this project, what I envision is some kind of like star patriotic earrings, because not only are those great for Memorial Day, but I can also wear them for the 4th of July and really all summer long. So I'm going to type in patriotic star and see what kind of files I come up with. And Creative Fabrica has such a big selection. There are tons and tons of files and file types to search through. So you can pretty much find any type of style of font or SVG file that you're looking for. But actually, based on some of these, I'm going to scroll back up and I think I passed some that I already like. I kind of imagine some stars, kind of like these, but these are PNG files, so they won't work for this project. But I think this Patriotic Stars set of files would be perfect because it's got a little bit more to it than it just being a plain star, like especially these offsets I really like. You could even do like some stars and stripes on them, but they're also not too fancy because they're going to be pretty small, so we can't do a ton of detail. But I really like the look of these. So I'm going to go ahead and click the download button because I know for sure this is what I want to use. And we'll get to extracting and adding into Design Space here in just a moment. But one tip that I have for you when you're on Creative Fabrica is there are so many files that sometimes I find it a little bit hard to go back and find files that I've used in the past. So everything that I really like, I like to click the Add to Favorites button because it's super easy to find. If you just scroll up to the top of the screen, you can always find your favorite section up here, and that makes it really easy to find past files that you've liked and files that you've worked with. So I always like to add everything to my favorites. Now I think I'm going to go back and I also want to add an earring card. I want to go a little extra and go all out and make an earring card for these earrings. So I'm going to use the search bar here on the side now that I've made my first search because I can narrow things down a little bit. And I'm going to search for like an earring card. I can't remember exactly what that's called. So let's see what comes up when we search earring card. And there are so many great options. Oh my gosh, look at this bundle. It has 100 different display cards, which is awesome. I don't need that many, but I love having that many options. I'm looking for a simple one just like this. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this and download it as well. And this way I can try this bundle out in Design Space and see which one is going to fit my earrings the best. Obviously, I'm not going to be hanging these up because these earrings are going to be for me. So I don't need one with like a holder on it, but this would be perfect if you take your crafts to like a craft show and you need to be able to hang your stuff up. These are some really cute options. And I'm going to add this file to my favorites as well. So then once I have things downloaded, I'm going to go ahead and click Show All here in the corner. And that's just going to take me over to my my downloads and then click show in folder so that I can see everything. And once we're in my downloads folder, next I need to extract all of these files because as you can see, they are zipped and you can't upload them into Cricut Design Space while they're zipped. So I'm gonna go ahead and right click on this file folder and click extract all. And then I'm gonna choose a location to download it. So I like to click browse, and I actually keep all of my craft projects on my external hard drive. So I'm gonna click on the craft files folder, and then I'll open up SVGs. And the way that I like to store everything so I can always find where it goes is to right click and then create a new folder for each and every one. And it begins with the couple of letters for where I got it. So like Creative Fabrica is CF, and then I'm gonna type in earring card holder, and then open up that folder and then choose select folder. So that's where everything's going to extract. So I know it'll be really easy to find. So I'll go ahead and click extract there and let that extract really quick, and then it'll pop open when it's finished downloading. And then I'm just gonna follow the same process with the patriotic stars. So I'll click extract all and then find a place to extract them, create a new folder for them and call them CF patriotic star, and then click it and then choose select folder. And then once they both popped up, I know that I am good to go into Cricut Design Space. So once you're in Cricut Design Space, next you can click the upload button to go ahead and upload our new designs. So I'll just click the upload image button and then the white browse button, and I'll go into my craft files so I can find everything that I just downloaded. So first we'll go ahead and upload the earring card holder because that's just the first one that I came to. And I think I'm gonna upload the whole bundle so that I can try everything out with my earrings. So I'm gonna click on the all cards button, and then I wanna choose the SVG file out of all of these, which is usually not clearly labeled as an SVG file. So I'm gonna click on the one that says Microsoft Edge HTML document. I don't know why it does it that way, but that is always the SVG file. So we'll click on that and then choose open, and then we'll go ahead and upload that into Cricut Design Space. And then we'll follow the same process for the patriotic star. So we'll just go back into my SVG folder and then I'll go down to the P's for patriotic star, open that up, and then I'll have to decide which star I want. So one way to do that is I like to change my icons to either the medium or sometimes the large icon so that I can see. And even though I don't want to download the PNG files, which is the one showing up right here, I can click right next to it, and this little symbol right here tells me that it's the Microsoft HTML document. So I know that this is star number 4, which I like the way this looks, but I'll click on the SVG version of that file right here and then click open. And then once I have it in Design Space, I'll choose upload. Then once we have everything uploaded, of course, we can select both of them and then click the green add to canvas button. So I'm gonna begin working with the star. I'll go ahead and click on the earring holders and then move them out of the way. I'm just gonna click on the little star here and we'll work with it first. The first thing that I want to do is zoom in a little bit because that looks really small. And then I'm gonna go ahead and ungroup all of these shapes over here. I can tell that when I click on it, I need to ungroup it because group is not an option. So I'll go ahead and do that, and I know that I'm going to cut my stars out of some red suede in the background, but I don't want quite this many layers, especially because I'm going to be putting heat transfer vinyl on my faux suede, and I don't want to work with a ton of layers because I know I'm going to experience a little bit of shrinkage. Putting a bunch of layers on an already small design might not look quite as good if we see some of the shrinkage that is visible. I'm gonna go ahead and delete the white layer here in the middle so that I'm just working with 2 layers on my star. This way I can cut the smaller layer out of heat transfer vinyl, and then I'll cut the bigger layer out of suede. Those are not perfectly lined up, so I can just select both of them and then choose align and center horizontally. So now I need to size them for the size of my earrings, and I want these to be pretty large studs, and they're only currently 1 inch wide. So I'm gonna go up to the edit bar at the top of the screen, and I'm gonna type in 1.25 inches. I want it to be a little bit bigger than what it is now. Then once I'm happy with my design, I can keep it selected and go up to the top of the layers panel and choose duplicate so that I have 2 sets of my stars, and those 2 will be my earrings. So now that we have that, next it's time to choose the earring card that we want to use. So I'm gonna zoom back out a little bit so that my screen looks a little bit larger. And now I need to choose an earring card that I think is going to look best. So I'm gonna go ahead and ungroup all of these files, And like I said, I'm going to go ahead and delete these ones over here because I know I don't need them to hang on anything. So we can get rid of those and then we can decide which one is best. And I think for the shape of my studs, it's probably best with the one that looks like this, where the holes are closer towards the center. These other ones that don't have very much room under the bottom, I'm just going to end up having to stretch them. I think I'm going to go ahead and delete both of these. And I'm going to be cutting this earring holder out of some craft board, and my craft board is white. So I'm going to go ahead and change the color to white as well so I can really visualize what it's going to look like. And now that I have that, next I need to go ahead and size my earring holder for my studs. So I'm going to click and drag a box around each of my stars, and I'm going to group them again, just so that I can move them around on my canvas and size them on my earring holder. And I can already tell that's going to be way too small. So I'm going to click on the earring holder and then click the unlock button. And that way I can control the length and width of the earring holder separately and just really manipulate it to fit the size of my earring. Now I'm going to be putting the post on the back of the stud right about here. I don't want to put it super close to the edges, so I'm going to put it about here, and that's where I'm going to try to line it up over the hole, see what size it needs to be, but we can still see that it's a little too short. I'm going to unclick that lock again, just move it around, make it look something like that. Then let's see if the other star fits on it well. And they're still a little too narrow, so this time we'll stretch it out this way, kind of check where those holes are, make sure we're right on track. So let's make it a little bit wider one more time. I think that's going to be a lot closer. That might not give us a perfect picture of what they're going to look like, but that will be pretty darn close, I'm sure. And then I can see that my width is 2.941. So I'll go ahead and just make that 3 inches wide, and that will be just right. But now I have all this extra space at the top since I don't have a little hanger because it's not going to hang in a retail store. So what I've done before, and I like to do sometimes, is add writing to the top of my earring cards, especially if you're making this for someone or giving these away to someone. That just adds a really sweet little touch. So I think I'm going to go back to Creative Fabrica and find a font to go at the top because I want to write something cute like Memorial Day or Stars and Stripes or Freedom Isn't Free or something cute that we can put across the top along with the Memorial Day theme. But before we do that, whenever you install a new font, you do sometimes have to close out Cricut Design Space in order to see the new font appear. So I'm going to go ahead and save our project. We'll call them Patriotic Star Earrings and save them. So I know I've showed you guys a million reasons to love Creative Fabrica as much as I do, and if you decide that you want to try out the All Access subscription, I have some really good news for you. Creative Fabrica is running a special where you can try the All Access membership for $1 for your first month. So if you're as obsessed with me, you can try it out and see if you like it for 30 days just for $1 to get started. So I'll be sure to link it down in the description below if you guys want to check out that trial. And then after the $1 first month, it does go up to $19 a month, but the regular price is actually $30 a month. So that's still 35% off, and you get that $19 a month price locked in forever. So honestly, it's a really great deal for how often at least I personally use All Access because the prices are actually not showing up for me because I don't have to pay for them since I have the All Access subscription. But if you guys looked at the prices of each of these files individually, you will use up the $19 a month, no problem. So just wanted to make sure you guys knew how to take advantage of this deal if you decide that you want to. So let's go ahead and search for these fonts. So I know that I want to do a font that's on the thinner side so that I can use a pen with my Cricut Maker 3 to write something that's going to look really cute. So I'm just going to search in the word skinny here in the search bar. And then I'm also under the filters, I'm going to choose script and handwritten because I'm not looking for a script font, but I'm looking for kind of a cutesy, like handwritten font to go at the top of my earring card. It looks like there's tons of options as always, and lots of different options with the word skinny in them. So basically I just have to pick one that I like, which is honestly hard to do. But let me show you one thing that I really like about Creative Fabrica's fonts. Oh my gosh, you guys, there's so many many good options. I think I might try out this skinny flower one. So let's go ahead and click on it, and let me show you why I love clicking on the different fonts and deciding, because I can actually scroll down here to the bottom to the try this font, and I can actually see what my font is going to look like, or what my words are going to look like in this font. So that way you're not downloading a bunch of fonts and then deciding that you don't even like them. So let's type in stars and stripes. Sometimes it takes a second to catch up, but then I can even see like what the ampersand looks like there in the middle, because I don't know about you, but sometimes I download a font and I think that the letters are super cute, but then I don't really like the characters in the middle. So I really like that I can preview everything. And I love that there is a light option as well as a regular and a bold in this font. I think we have a winner here. So in order to download this font, I'm going to go up and click on the green download button. And then when it pops up in my downloads, I'll click it to open it in the folder. And then I can click on each font and install it. Now, one thing to remember is that you always want to install the open type font or the OTF version of the font. And you can remember that OTF as open this font. That was something that I learned really early on in my Cricut career and that always stuck with me. So in order to have these different versions, I'm going to click on each OTF version of the file, and then choose install right here. And then once the button turns gray, you know that it's finished. So that's the regular version, but I'm going to go ahead and install these other versions as well while we're already here. I'll click on the OTF and then click install. And I think that that light version of the skinny flower is going to be so cute. Once everything is installed, then I'll go ahead and go back to Cricut Design Space and actually close it out. Like I said, since our project is saved, we can do that safely. And then we'll just re-click on Cricut Design Space again to go back in. And then we'll go back into my projects up here in the top corner, and then just click on Patriotic Star Earrings and customize. And then we're right back to where we started. So then I can go back to the design panel on the left-hand side and click on the T for text and type in my stars and stripes. Then I'll highlight all my text and go to the edit bar here at the top to choose my font. And I'm going to sort it by system fonts so I can find the fonts installed in my computer. And I'll type in skinny flower and then search it. And as you can see, I have all my options in front of me. And since I'm going to be using a Cricut pen, I want to find the thinnest font that I possibly can. And the reason for this is so that the filled in section of the font is maybe not quite as obvious. So that's why I like the idea of using the skinny flower light font. You can really use any font that you want. It's just the thicker the font is, the more you're going to be able to tell. So then I'm going to go ahead, and while my text is still highlighted, I'm going to go up under operation and choose pen so that my Cricut knows that it will be writing this font. And then as you can see, it looks really big. So as the font gets smaller, it's a lot harder to tell that the letters are hollow. But like I said, we can always go in and fill in the letters if that bothers us. Or you could even actually cut this out of vinyl if you didn't want to deal with drawing with your Cricut at all. And then you could just put vinyl at the top of your craft board as well. There are lots of great options for the different ways that you could do it. But I like using my pens every once in a while because it's just a fun feature to utilize on my Cricut Maker 3. So now that I have this up here at the top, I'll go ahead and size it accordingly. So I can see that there's still a little bit of space left. So I might go ahead and stretch it down a little bit, as well as go a little bit wider. I think that that looks perfect, but I want to make sure that the stars and stripes is centered with my earring card. So I'm going to click on the text to select it. Then I'm going to hold down Shift on my keyboard and grab the background board. And I'm going to choose align at the top of the screen and then center horizontally to make sure that it's all good to go. And then I'm going to attach it. And it's really important that we use the attach feature because that's going to allow us to write at the top and then cut around the outside, because whenever you use attach, you can actually attach multiple operations, and attach is the only tool that lets you attach more than one type of operation. So that's very important to keep in mind. But once we have that all ready to go, then our project is good. So we're gonna go ahead and save it one more time because we've done so much work. We definitely don't wanna have to come back and do that twice. Then we're gonna click the green Make It button. And I'm definitely gonna make sure that all of my mats look correct. So on my craft board mat, I have the pen. First that's gonna draw and then cut. And then this blue mat is gonna be my HTV. So I'm gonna go ahead and click mirror, even though these stars are symmetrical, so you won't see it do anything. Since it's HTV, I always like to remember to do that.
and then my red suede stars are all together and looking good. So now we'll click continue to proceed onto the materials selection screen. And once my maker connects, I'll go ahead and start at the top of all of my mats. And for this mat, I'm going to choose the craft board setting because I'm using actual craft board. So I'll click browse all materials. And then at the top of the screen, I'm going to utilize the search bar and type in the craft board setting. And then I don't have holographic craft board, so I'm just going to choose the regular craft board setting. And that's what I'm going to use for this first mat. And then for the blue HTV, I'm going to be using Caesar Metal HTV, and that just gets cut on the everyday iron-on setting. And then for the red mat that's going to be the stars, I'll show you how to find that cut setting. I'm going to click the green Browse All Materials button, and then I'm actually going to search for Faux Suede. I happen to be using Cricut's version of Faux Suede, so this cut setting works really, really well for that. So I like to go ahead and click the one that has the Cricut C next to it. So I'm going to choose that Faux Suede setting and then choose done. And then under the drop down menu, when I did my test, it had one little spot where it snagged. So under the drop down menu, I'm going to choose more to give it just a little bit more pressure than it usually would. So that's the cut settings that I'm going to use on all three mats. So now let's hop over to my craft table and we'll begin by cutting this craft board.
So to get started cutting all of these materials on our Cricut Maker 3, we're going to begin with the craft board. So I always like to use the green standard grip mat with the craft board because it's a little bit thicker than cardstock. It feels like a very light cardboard. So I'm just going to go ahead and place it in the upper left-hand corner, or ensure that it's lined up here in the corner of our mat. And then I'm actually going to roll it down with my brayer. If you guys don't have a braying tool, this is really useful for making sure that projects are really well stuck to the mat, which is super important for getting a really great cut. Then we need to open up the Maker 3, and we also need to insert our pen. So today I'm going to be using the Very Berry 0.4 tip pen because I want it to look red on my craft board. So I'm just going to remove the cap and place it on the back, and then find the little gray triangle, which always needs to face out in the front. I'll open up my clamp A and then insert the pen while also supporting the pen holder using my finger. And then I'll close clamp A so that we can write first, and then our Cricut will cut out the craft board earring holder. So then I'll put my mat in my Cricut machine, and I will press the flashing arrow button to load it into the machine. Then after the machine measures the mat, next I need to click the play button to begin cutting and writing. And then once our earring holder is finished being cut, then we can unload the mat from our machine. And I'll just flip my mat over with the sticky side facing down so I can gently remove my earring holder and the full sheet of the craft board. And there we have our super cute earring card holder. And you can see this font is so thin that you can barely see any of the gaps between the letters. So if that was something that was really important to you, you could fill that in with your own pen. But honestly, I think it looks great just the way it is. Before we move on to our second mat, we also need to remove the pen from clamp A by opening up the clamp, pulling the pen out, and then putting the cap back on the top so that it doesn't dry out. Our next mat is going to be this blue Caesar Metal HTV that I'm going to add to the middle of our earring. But since this is a very big sheet and we are only cutting a very small part of the mat, I'm just going to trim off a little rectangle that I can put on the cutting mat. And I'm just going to use my self-healing mat to kind of measure out like 2 by maybe 2.5. And that will be plenty of HTV for these little stars. Then I need to be sure to lay the shiny side of my Caesar Metal, which is this side, down on the mat like this in the upper left-hand corner. And I did change my cut setting to the everyday iron-on cut setting. So then I'll just load this mat into my machine. And after the mat is measured, then I can begin cutting out my stars. Then once our machine is finished cutting, I can unload the mat and remove the HTV from the mat. And the weeding is going to be super quick and easy. Everything should just come off in all one pull.
And now our stars are all set to add to our earrings. So now let's prepare our mat for cutting our faux suede. When it comes to cutting faux suede and faux leather are very similar. And for both of them, I always like to use a purple strong grip mat because I find that always gives me the best cut. So I'm gonna take my faux suede and line it up here in the upper left-hand corner like this. And then again, I like to use my brayer tool to make sure that my faux suede is really well adhered onto my mat so the mat can hold it steady while my Cricut cuts. Then something else that I like to do that's especially helpful if you have an older, less sticky, strong grip mat is I sometimes like to take the upper left-hand corner of the mat, especially if you're cutting something really small and the majority of the design is going to be cut right here. That can really help just the edges, make sure that they don't get caught underneath the rollers or anything like that. And the great thing about using painter's tape to tape your items down is if your machine does happen to cut through or on top of the painter's tape, it will cut right through and still cut your design just fine, no problem. So it's just an extra precaution that I like to take on most of my faux leather or faux suede projects. And then I'll just tuck the rest of the tape along the side of the mat, so it doesn't affect how the mat gets loaded into the machine. But if you're cutting something larger, you may want to reinforce the whole mat with painter's tape, but when I'm cutting something small, which is usually what I'm cutting, I just do the upper left-hand corner. Then when we open up our Cricut Maker 3, next we need to move the star wheels all the way over to the right-hand side so that they don't affect the cut and they don't make an impression in the faux suede. So in case you guys didn't know, these little wheels just slide over. You just have to pinch them and then push them along the bar, and they'll slide right out of the way. And you're gonna do this same thing anytime you're cutting anything thicker like chipboard or basswood. You're always gonna wanna make sure that you move your star wheels out of the way. And then when your project is finished, be sure to push them back over because they do help the Cricut Maker 3 grip the materials and the mats and all of that good stuff. So they are super important. And I have changed my cut setting back to faux suede for this mat. And the reason I know it's faux suede is because I'm actually using the Cricut brand of faux suede. And the main difference between the faux suede and the faux leather is just the texture on the front, but Cricut does have separate cut settings for both. So if you're not cutting Cricut brand and you're not sure what cut setting to use, I definitely encourage you to do test cuts before you do your entire project so you don't waste material using the wrong cut setting. So then I'm just gonna load my mat the way I normally would and press the flashing arrow button. And once my machine is ready, I'll press the play button to begin cutting. And once the machine is finished cutting, I'll press the flashing unloading button. And it's really hard to see that the Cricut did actually cut this shape, so don't panic if you're anything like me. The first time that I cut faux suede, I thought, oh my gosh, my cut setting was totally wrong, but my Cricut actually cut perfectly. So I'll just peel the tape away from the faux suede, and then I'll flip my mat over to remove my stars. Check out how cute these little stars turned out. So now it's time to assemble our earrings. So to finish up our earrings, next we need to adhere our HTV to the center. So I'm gonna begin by cutting apart the carrier sheet of the Caesar metal stars so that we can adhere them separately. And as you just heard, my Cricut Easy Press Mini is preheated to the second wave so that I can do this super quickly and easily. So I'm just gonna put the star in the center of the red suede star and then stick it down using a carrier sheet, and I'm gonna do the same thing on the other star. So I can see that the carrier sheet is pushing the Caesar metal HTV away from my faux suede. So I'm gonna trim it down a little bit so that there's not quite so much excess around the star, but I'll leave a little bit on the bottom and on the sides to make sure that I have something to stick to the suede. That will work a little bit better. So then once I have my HTV in place on my stars and I like the placement of them, as you can see, I have them stuck down to my Cricut Easy Press mat. Always be careful about the surface underneath even your mini Easy Press so that you're not damaging your table with all the heat. Then I'm gonna take just a piece of parchment paper to protect the HTV from the high direct heat. And I'm just gonna put that right over the top. And on each piece, I'm just gonna kind of press it down for a second to kind of tack the HTV in place. And then I'll do the same thing here on the other star as well. And then once I have them tacked down, I may spend a little bit more time on each star, just kind of working that HTV to make sure that it's well stuck down. But since these earrings are never gonna go through a washing machine or anything like that, we don't necessarily need to be worried about making sure we have the exact time and temperature. Or well, the temperature we wanna get as close as we can, but we don't need to necessarily worry about the typical 15 seconds that we would use to apply this HTV. And the Cricut Mini Easy Press is designed to be moved around. The other Easy Presses, we always wanna encourage you to just stay in place, but the Mini Easy Press is actually designed to move this way. So once we have each one well pressed, then we're going to wait a few moments because the Caesar metal HTV is always a cold peel. So we're not going to peel it until the carrier sheets feel cool to the touch. But in the meantime, while I'm waiting for my HTV to cool, I can go ahead and grab the post backings for my earrings. And I'm gonna be using some liquid fusion glue to adhere them to the back, and just a little bit will be plenty. So I'll go ahead and remove those from my little bag. And once the carrier sheets feel cool to the touch, I'll just go ahead and peel the carrier sheet. And look what a gorgeous shine that Caesar metal gives on that faux suede. I just love the way that looks. And I was also thinking that these earrings would also be very pretty if you wanted to embellish them using rhinestones or something around the perimeter of the star, like maybe right on top of the Caesar metal. These are just so pretty and so much fun. So now we need to go ahead and attach the post backings onto our earrings. So anytime that I'm working with super glue or anything like that, I always like to have something silicone underneath my surface so that if any glue spills off, I'm not gonna ruin any surfaces. So I use these silicone trivets for any kind of super glue or even epoxy or UV resin. So I can go ahead and link them for you in the description in case you wanna pick up your own set, because I think they are so handy. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip over each of my earrings and decide where I'm gonna place each of my posts. I do also have a pair of stab and grab tweezers available in case I need to move my little post around. So in case you guys have never worked with post earrings before, the little post looks like this, and we are going to be gluing this side to the actual earring, and then of course this is the part of the earring that goes through your ear. So I have my tweezers available in case I need to move my placement once I set it on. It's not gonna dry immediately, so we're gonna have a couple of minutes to adjust things. So I'm just gonna take my liquid fusion bottle, and I really like working with liquid fusion because it has a much finer tip than something like E6000. And I'm just going to put a little dab just above the body of the star into this first, or this top area. I don't want to put it too close to the edges of the star because I want to make sure that the post has plenty of area to grip. Whoops. A little more than I intended to put on there, but that's actually not too bad. So then I'm just going to take the post and place it with the surface of the post area down onto the earring. Like that. And then I'll take my tweezers and kind of move it in to place exactly where I want it to stick. I'll give it a little push using my tweezers. And now they look something like this. So now I'll give them a couple of minutes to set, and in the meantime, I'm also gonna grab a Q-tip and clean up a little bit of the glue around the star so that none of it shows from the front of the earring. So before the glue sets, I'm just gonna wipe away any excess that I don't want to keep with a Q-tip. Even though this is still drying, I am gonna gently flip it over and make sure no super glue got on the front of the earring. So I'll leave that in place to dry, and then I'll do the same thing on this one. I may have to push that one back in place here in just a second. But while the glue is still wet, I'm gonna make any changes to the earring while we can. Then I'll flip this one around and double check it as well.
and it looks good. So now I'll just give these a few minutes to dry. And once the super glue has set your posts in place, next we just need to add them to our earring card holder. So what I like to do is put each earring in through the hole, and then to put the backing on, I usually find it best to lay it down flat on a table or a surface like that, so you can stick the post on, or the backing onto the post. Then you have super cute earrings ready for Memorial Day. You guys just check out how beautiful that Caesar metal texture is on the front of that, along with the matte red faux suede. It just looks so cute and perfect. So like I told you guys, I'm gonna be keeping these earrings for me, but if you're celebrating Memorial Day with friends and family, I highly recommend you make them some super cute earrings like this because they were so quick and easy. What faux leather project tutorials would you like to see here on the DIY Alex YouTube channel? Let me know down in the comments below. I love connecting with my crafty fam community, so be sure to connect with me on all your favorite social media platforms, and be sure to subscribe to DIY Alex so that you never miss new tutorials just like this one every single week. Congratulations again to our Cricut Maker 3 giveaway winner, Denise Barron. Denise was selected randomly among all the participants in the giveaway by the Creative Fabrica team. So congratulations again, Denise. Be sure to watch out for an email from the Creative Fabrica team for all of your shipping information and all that good stuff. And it'll be the email address that's connected to your Creative Fabrica account. Thank you so much to everyone who participated in the giveaway. If you weren't our lucky giveaway winner, you can still snag an amazing deal by trying out the all access subscription for just $1 for your first month. So be sure to use the link down in the description of the video to snag that deal. Thank you so much to everyone for watching and all the hearts.